Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Melodies with Music for a Great Space. I am Rebecca Willey, Executive Director of Music for a Great Space.
And I'm Dwyla Pearson, a board member of Music for a Great Space.
And we are here today in the beautiful Steinway Gallery in Greensboro. We're so excited to feature these gorgeous pianos everywhere around us. And it's especially fitting for us to be here for this episode because we are talking to Duo Beaux, a four-hand piano duo who is performing on the MGS series on a gorgeous Steinway piano at Christ United Methodist Church next Friday, March 22nd.
We are so excited for this concert.
Yeah, it's going to be great. A little bit about Steinway pianos in case you don't know about them. The Steinway Piano Company has been around for 171 years. They handcraft every single piano they make. They have about 400 employees in New York City who make 1,500 pianos a year. So that's pretty cool. And this gallery is part of a company that is 3 galleries in the Carolinas. So Greensboro, Greenville, South Carolina, and in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they also have a series of concerts about once a month. So you should totally come check those out too. The best way to find out about those is to call or email and get signed up for the email newsletter so that you can come check out the concerts right here in Greensboro, or you can drive to Greenville or Charlotte if you want to see them there too. Start out by telling us how you got started on the piano.
Sure. I think I will let Catherine start because we came from a rather different background. So go ahead.
So I started when I was at 3 years old, and my parents sent me to receive some basic music training because it was a rather fashionable thing to do in my native country, which is Taiwan. And from there, the teacher quickly discovered that I did have some talent in music, so I started a more professional training. And by the age of 8, I enrolled into the government-sponsored musical training program, where it's very comprehensive. So I studied piano, music literature, music theory, ear training, dictation, orchestra. We even had to pick our second instrument. So for me, it was the oboe. Yeah, so that was quite an adventure. And after that, I moved to Canada, Vancouver, Canada. And that's where I went to high school and received my undergrad degree in piano performance from University of British Columbia. Later on, I came to this country for my graduate studies. I got my master's from Indiana University in Bloomington and doctorate from University of Miami in Coral Gables, Florida. And my family is totally non-musical. I'm the strange kid. Adopted.
Yeah, so my background is quite the opposite. I was originally from Shanghai, from China, and I came from a musical family. Both my parents were piano professors at the Shanghai Conservatory of Music, for better or worse. And I started around age 4. Before I could remember, they kind of just parked me in front of the piano because that's what they both did. Now, one story that my mom later told me that was kind of the event that made them realize that I might have some feeling or talent for music was that apparently one day she was practicing the slow movement of Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata, which is a very moving, beautiful movement. And she apparently saw me weeping in the corner of the room listening to it. So she felt like, oh, there might be some connection to music. So that in combination with their own profession, that made me took on piano, and I've been doing obviously ever since. But I'm always envious of Catherine because I don't know a second instrument. I would love to be able to play proficiently on another instrument. But at about a similar age, like around 8, I also enrolled to the Shanghai Conservatory, what they call is the pre-college, even pre-high school division, and then went through that program, and also came to the States for further studying, and also got my graduate degree from University of Miami in Coral Gables, although we were studying there at a different time. So that's our history a little bit.
Nice.
Nice. When did you guys meet up? Yeah.
Yeah.
We met at a competition, but very fortunately, we were not competing against each other. Otherwise, who knows, right? So, Tao was adjudicating the competition, and I was helping out a contestant, and that's where we first met in Florida. And after that, we started communicating with each other, and then we just got engaged. Yeah, and soon after that, we got married, and that's when our duo formed. So we started performing together and traveling together all over the place, and the rest is history.
Yeah, what's interesting that we met in person first at that competition event, but then we started kind of like online dating through email for like a couple of months, and then we finally met in person again. So we did order a little bit in the reverse, if you will.
That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
So I know a lot of people like to know, is it challenging as a husband-wife to play together? Do you find it harder than if you played with other people, or is it easier and better? How do you guys feel about it?
You want to take this one?
In our particular case, it's easier. And I believe some husband-wife team, they might be quite competitive against each other, but we are not. We support each other. And because we live together, so it makes rehearsals very convenient.
Yeah, I like to admit defeat, so that makes things very easy. But yes, the convenient part is quite tremendous because you can easily arrange rehearsal time, obviously, and there are a lot of repertoire written for this format that basically require very close physical contact, and that also in our case is not an issue. So. Not yet, right?
So can you just talk a little bit about four-hand piano and kind of what that means for our viewers? They can see that you guys have 2 pianos behind you, and that is also a duo format, right? So can you kind of talk about the difference?
So there are 2 types of piano team, if you will. One is called a piano duet, which refer to 4 hands at one piano, which in many ways is sort of the oldest form of home entertainment, if you will, because in centuries ago, obviously there were no television or recordings that people can listen to, or YouTube. People can just get access to music, and going out to live performances can be troublesome very often or expensive. So piano became the center of home entertainment, and music written for piano duet was very popular because it enables multiple people to play at one piano. Of course, 4 hands at one piano is most popular, but there were music written for 6 hands or 8 hands. So as many as you can squeeze in front of the instrument, there's this music for it. And then the other format is called a piano duo, which actually requires 2 pianos. But then the repertoire is very different. It gives you a more orchestral feeling of the ensemble, and also the sonority is much greater, but it's also slightly less intimate. So these are the 2 different forms of 2 piano teams.
And one of the things that I love about four-hand piano is watching you guys actually crossing over and reaching and things like that.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and you will be seeing all of that at a concert this time.
Do you guys have to talk through how you do that, or is it very clear who plays what in the music, or do you ever say, okay, I can't reach that note, will you play it for me?
Usually, the division of labor, if you will, is very clearly marked in the score, like which one plays which part. But the actual physical execution of those parts can require a lot of work and a lot of coordination. Sometimes every millimeter has to be considered so that we don't bump into each other, or sometimes when bumping is inevitable, then we have to anticipate that our physical motion of playing the instrument will be slightly interrupted, and we just have to have that mental preparation for that. So that is what's really involved in the rehearsal process.
That's so interesting.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So you guys, a little bit about your history. You guys have gone on to win several competitions. So my question would be, what are your favorite concertos to play individually?
Ooh, would you like to start with yours?
Well, there are so many to choose from. It's hard to pick just one. But I'm excited to say that in 2025, I'll be performing the Prokofiev number 3 in C major, as well as Brahms in D minor. So I'm very looking forward to performing those great works.
Yeah, the list is really can be too long. The two that she's about to perform next season, they are definitely amongst our favorites. We also love most of the Mozart concertos, the Beethoven, and just recently, a couple months ago, I actually played a slightly lesser known work called the Egyptian Concerto by Camille Saint-Saëns. So that's also a really exhilarating piece to play. So the list is quite long, and we don't pick and choose so much. We kind of love all of them.
Nice. I bet it's difficult to just pick one once you've played so many.
Sure.
The Totens is my favorite.
That's kind of both the blessing and the curse of piano playing, if you will, is that the repertoire is so vast that people say it takes several lifetimes just to go through all the masterworks. So we don't have to choose, really.
So speaking of music, that's a great segue. So can you guys talk about the music that you're going to play on the program here, and maybe pick one or two pieces and talk to us about why you programmed them?
Okay. So the program we're presenting at Greensboro is very eclectic and very varied. It goes from sort of Baroque all the way to very contemporary transcription for piano duet. Maybe I'll just mention maybe two works that we find particularly interesting or unusual. One is we include three works for piano duet by Fanny Hensel, who's by this last name is not really well known, but her maiden name is actually Mendelssohn. So she was the older sister of Felix Mendelssohn, and unfortunately, she was not able to fully explore her considerable musical talent during her lifetime because of the unfortunate social limitation at the time. She was only able to publish her Opus number 1 work a year before she passed away at a very young age of 42. And that actually also greatly impacted Felix's own health, and he actually passed away only a few months after her at age of 38. And these three pieces, it's all published posthumously. We find very, very attractive, great character pieces, kind of remind us of Songs Without Words by her younger brother. But we find in her music there is a greater sense of adventure in harmonies, and seem a greater interest in exploring the dramatic and darker side of music compared to Felix. So we're very much looking forward to play these three pieces. And then the other one that I like to mention is this interesting, rather recent transcription of the Blue Daniel Waltz by Johann Strauss Jr. For piano duet, and it's made by this arranger, Greg Anderson, who has his own piano duet team. And he mentioned in his own description of this work that it's specifically, at least originally conceived as a specific arrangement for his own duet partner, and he took into consideration her body build, size, body type, and so he made some of these arrangements really for these two to sort of work together. But it is officially published, so we would like to give it a try, even though we are built differently. So there are times we have to find well, I guess unorthodox ways to solve some of the technical problems. And every time we play, we feel like going on a great adventure roller coaster ride or something, and we never really know how we come out on the other side. Luckily, so far we have been able to finish together every time. So we hope the same for this performance.
We look forward to definitely hearing that one.
Yeah, right? That sounds exciting. So this is our season of the arts, and so we're kind of celebrating all the different art forms this year. And one of the questions we've been asking our artists is, you guys have this wonderful perspective traveling all around the world and being in performance situations and just seeing the music world in lots of different places. So what do you guys feel is working really, really well in the music world right now? And if anything, where do you hope that we might move towards or grow as an industry?
Yeah, so I guess the areas we think that's very positive is, one thing is the easy access to a lot of musical materials. The online resource regarding obtaining scores or a performance sample recording is vastly easier than before. And also, we think the proliferation of smaller venues all across, not just the US, but also in Europe and in Asia, that's very helpful. Like in China, the concert halls just popping up everywhere. So there's a lot of interest in classical music. So I think those are really great developments. The area I think sometimes concerns me a little bit is too often classical musicians or people in the arts are too often sort of being lumped into being just another entertainer, I suppose, because I do feel that great art is sort of a level above mere entertainment, hopefully more uplifting or longer lasting in their memory in that sense. So that's my 2 cents.
So in all the different places that you've played and all the different venues that you've played, well, this one might be tricky as well, but do you think you have a favorite? And if you do, what is your favorite venue so far?
I think one of the, I don't know if it's my favorite, but certainly very memorable, is one of the UNESCO heritage site in Croatia that I performed at. And it's a basilica from the 6th century. And in its green room, there were those tombstones. So
Sarcophagus, I think.
Yes. So that was very unique. So that was quite an experience.
Yeah, there are, obviously we enjoy performing in major halls and enjoying the acoustics there as well. But very often we find some very memorable places are the smaller or undiscovered or lesser traveled places. There's one time we played in Tallinn, Estonia, and the venue was in the summer palace of the Tsar. And the acoustics was just really tremendous. And that's really the one place we feel we could comfortably play this arrangement of Ravel's Mother Goose Suite, which is kind of sparsely composed for the piano, but if you have great resonance, then it really works. And the organizer told us that they had the G7 and NATO meetings in the same room that we performed. So that was kind of an interesting experience.
Wow. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Cool. Well, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we are. Closer to the end of our interviews, we like to ask a fun question. Okay. And so I would like to ask you guys, if whether it's a HBO series or a Netflix series or a podcast series, what are you currently binging right now?
There's a bit of like Asian drama or whatever you're into, like Korean drama.
Korean drama, the horror ones. watch those during my dinner times
Yeah.
before I go to sleep.
like the K-drama, you know, which is I think quite popular nowadays in the States. A lot of people
That's the
are
last
watching
one
that.
I've been watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of into geopolitics and economics. So what I sort of binge watching is not so much a TV series or TV show drama and that, but I watch a lot of lectures. That might sound completely nerdy to most people, but I just enjoy watching people, sort of academically talking about these issues. So I sort of go through one after another, and I guess my mind is completely screwed up by all those.
He's still trying to save the world, I think. And I've already given up.
Well-rounded musician,
That's right.
if you will.
That's right.
Well, we thank you guys so much, and we really do look forward to hearing you guys play.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Thank you. We're so looking forward to coming. Thank you.